For the second time in Too Many Tabs history, we're putting a content warning at the beginning of this episode. Mrs. Pearlmania and I are well aware that many of our listeners listen or watch this show with children present. And that's fine. That's good, usually. But on this episode, we're talking about P.T. Barnum. Many people think of him as the circus man, or the character that Hugh Jackman played in a musical. Well, we're here to remind you that P.T. Barnum was a man who existed before the Civil War in America. And what people found entertaining before the Civil War in America are now considered crimes. Horrific crimes. Some that may induce nightmares to younger children. We highly recommend that you put headphones on or watch it privately before a kid hears or sees this, just because of the graphic nature of some of the content that we cover at the very end of this episode. Thank you. And now, let's cut back to me an hour and 45 minutes ago before he learned way too much. Today's episode is about circuses, the history of the circuses, right, Mrs. P?
Sorta.
What is it really about then?
P.T. Barnum.
Oh, that's why we had to watch that movie?
Yeah.
That's why we had to watch that Hugh Jackman musical?
Yeah.
That's why I had to get jacked by Hugh?
Too many tabs. Remember to smile.
Welcome to Too Many Tabs, a podcast where a husband and wife duo sit next to each other in front of crumbling wallpaper. And today, sitting next to each other in what's feeling like, I'm going to just throw it out there, crumbling marriage.
What?
You made me watch a Hugh Jackman musical.
Yeah, I made you watch The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, and it was the greatest show pile of shit I've ever seen.
I can't even tell you it was good. I can't even lie.
No, 9 songs, all of which were Millennial, stomp, whoop, musical, suspender slapping, boot tapping.
Yeah, a lot of that.
All of that.
A lot of this.
A little bit of that. A little bit of that. Hugh Jackman with a weird filter at one point on his face because they were trying to make Hugh Jackman look 20.
He's young.
He wasn't young. He was old then. He doesn't even have Wolverine powers.
He's still old now.
He's old now.
Older than ever, really.
And Zac Efron showing up.
Yep.
That wasn't great.
What do you mean?
The only good part was the bartender. Anyway, why did I have to watch an hour and 45-minute musical with only 9 songs?
Oh, because I wanted to do an episode on P.T. Barnum, and I wanted you to be prepared. I wanted you to understand the lore.
There was no prepared. I could feel the whole time I was watching that, I was like, I don't think that's right. I don't know when this is even supposed to be set. Mm-hmm. They were just like, it's the 1800s in New York. And I'm like, but when in the 1800s? The 1800s is a very vibrant and violent time.
Yeah, we've covered it before.
I'm pretty sure this movie took place during Gangs of New York times. Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
But instead, it felt very much like I was at a Millennial burger joint watching people go, oh, but this lady has a beard.
Oh,
we do things.
Shoestring French fries out of a metal cup.
We do things differently here at this museum.
Aioli.
Aioli.
Listen, let me tell you about him. Because I needed you to see it to understand, number one, why I don't like it. And number two, why it was so wrong that it made me need to do all of this research about P.T. Barnum so I could talk to you about it. Because I have too much knowledge in my brain and I need to tell you.
So you made me sit through a musical.
Yes.
So I would feel mad and bad.
Yes.
So you could then tell me about the main character.
Yes.
Of the musical.
That's the whole thing about this podcast.
Okay.
I make you upsetty spaghetti for the shits and gigs for the rest of us.
We've done 169 episodes.
Oh, really?
Not counting. This is episode 169.
Okay.
That is not counting book clubs where you've read a book to me. Story reports.
They had a rebrand.
That's not counting the after parties. That's not counting Vibing with the Food Idiot, which is exclusive on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Just of Too Many Tabs, formerly known as Pearlmania 500, the podcast.
Yeah.
We've done 169 episodes. But this one, this one you made me sit through an hour and 45 minute stomp whoop musical.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so P.T. Barnum, his full name is Phineas Taylor Barnum.
I know that because Hugh Jackman says it repeatedly throughout the movie.
He was born in 1810 in Connecticut.
He was born in Connecticut.
He was born in Connecticut.
Okay, they do not make that clear in the movie,
They
by the way.
do not. They just kind of walk to the water, and you're supposed to know that that's Connecticut.
And they also, it doesn't even have like a New England feel to it.
No.
I don't even think Connecticut really has a New England feel to it, though.
Let's not start any more fights with New England people.
Okay,
you need to stop.
No, I only fight with people from Maine.
Okay.
People from Connecticut, I passed through on 95.
When he was 15 years old, his father passed away.
Whose father?
P.T. Barnum's.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about Hugh Jackman.
No, P.T.
Okay.
Barnum.
P.T. Barnum, which they showed in the musical.
Yeah.
They showed a young P.T. Barnum, and that's where he got the top hat from. Because God forbid a musical, God forbid any modern movie not explain to you where exactly everything comes from.
They have to spoon feed you things.
They do.
Also, in the movie he was like 9 when he died, but in real life he was 15. Anyway, at age 19, he gets married to a woman named Charity Hallett, and she's 21.
Okay.
Ooh.
So that's Michelle Williams in the movie.
Yeah.
And they do make a big deal about that. But let me just dial back here. They showed him going up to get, was it Chastity?
Charity.
Charity. They go up to talk to Charity and her dad. He's like, I'm going to marry her. And they put like a TikTok age filter on him.
Yeah.
He looks weird.
It does look bad.
Hugh Jackman looks weird. Michelle Williams does not look 21.
No.
Hugh Jackman looks like he's about 45.
Yep.
At least.
Yeah.
Hard 45. Australian 45. And Michelle Williams looks like a widower because she is. And they're supposed to be 19 and 21.
Yeah, listen, millennials are able to handle this because we grew up with TV shows that showed high schools, but where all the high school people were actually like in their mid-20s.
R.I.P. James Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I think we're just used to it. Also, I grew up watching 90210.
Yeah.
So like the same idea of like the Melrose Place 90210 where everybody was like 30 and you're like, I'm in high school.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
So my brain's okay. Okay, so he gets married to an older woman.
Yeah.
You didn't clock that, older woman.
Well, that's nice. Can I just say, after the last couple years that we've had, Epstein files, hearing that he married someone 2 years older.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll give him that.
Nice.
Was she rich?
I didn't actually look into her that much.
You didn't look into her that much?
There's so much to cover with him.
Okay, because the whole movie, like half the movie is supposed to be like their love.
Well,
it's like the love story of all times.
Yeah,
and like all these different things, and he realizes by the end of the movie, oh, maybe I'm not actually just like a malignant narcissist. Maybe I should be with my family.
Maybe.
Okay.
They did have 4 daughters.
4? They only showed 2 in the movie.
2 of them died.
Oh, that actually tracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he opens a general store in
Can I tell you, there was a moment there where I was like, they wrote 2 daughters off? And it's like, no, the Lord wrote 2 daughters off.
Whoa. So he opens a general store in 1831 that he runs in Connecticut.
Okay.
But he also, at the same time, decides he wants to get into the newspaper business.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Now I'm mad again.
Why are you mad?
Because in the movie, the only newspaper he has in the movie is he's a poor homeless kid with a dead dad and a top hat, and he's starving.
An orphan.
He tries to steal some bread.
Yeah.
And then a lady with a weird face gives him an apple. Like that's legit. Like they're like, no, look, he's being like throughout this movie, he's being saved by freaks. Like that's their whole thing. He's being saved by people he's going to eventually put in the Sideshow. But there's a whole part where he's sitting next to basically a pile of old newspapers.
Yes.
And then he picks them up and he just starts selling old newspapers like they're new.
Reselling old papers.
Like they don't have dates on them.
Well, they took some liberties with that.
Okay, with that?
Because he did start his own newspaper called the Herald of Freedom.
The Herald of Freedom.
It only ran for a few years. It was a weekly Connecticut newspaper that he basically just used to talk shit about the relationship between the church and state. So like Connecticut really didn't have a lot of separation of church and state, and he hated that.
Okay.
He was a ideologist of the Jacksonian ideology. Do you know about that?
No, what's a Jacksonian ideology?
So the Jacksonian ideology was a political movement led by President Andrew Jackson. And it championed greater rights, political power, and participation for the common man against the entrenched elites.
Yeah, so that's populism.
Key principles included expanding voting rights to all white males, the spoils system, which is also known as patronage. And the patronage system is a political practice where the winning party rewards its supporters, friends, and relatives with government jobs, contracts, and favors. prioritizing loyalty over merit in an aim to build party loyalty, which often results in corruption, incompetence, and high turnover rates.
So this is literally exactly the reason why Andrew Jackson is Donald Trump's favorite president. Like famously, he's famously Donald Trump's favorite president. And there's actually right now they're talking about how Donald Trump, the other day, he claimed that he talked to a former president about Iran.
Yeah.
And then reporters reached out to all 4 living former presidents. They're like, did he talk to you? And they're like, I don't talk to that asshole. And so now people are wondering if he was just wandering the halls of the White House.
Yeah, there's just ghosts of presidents in there.
Yeah, he was either talking to Andrew Jackson's portrait.
Yeah.
Or he called up Glenn Beck to have a little chat with the George Washington AI that he talks to every day.
Okay.
Do you know about that?
No.
Glenn Beck built, quote unquote, an AI that is George Washington as a podcaster.
Oh my God, I hate that so much.
I want you to take a famous slaver, George Washington, with his fake stolen teeth.
Yeah.
You take him, put him in a tight medium V-neck, and give him a podcast mic.
A cigar. I'm picturing Andrew Tate style now.
No, but
it's full Andrew Tate style.
No, it's supposed to be, he's like a Mano-verse. Yeah, he's Andrew Tate-ish.
Yeah.
But he's like a Mano-verse, and they gave him like an old guy haircut. They can't even do young George. That's the other part. They couldn't even be like, picture him from like the French and Indian Wars.
Do they have a background of the cherry tree?
No, it's just like a podcast background.
It's like, put some effort into it.
It would, but it's Glenn Beck.
Make a background that works.
It's Glenn Beck, okay? He converted to Mormonism. But get back to the Jacksonian side of things. The patronage system is much different than the Patreon system, which you can support us by going to pearlmania500.net to get ad-free shows.
Nice integration.
Thank you.
The Jacksonians also believed in limited federal government, rugged individualism, while also fostering white supremacy and the expansion of slavery.
Yeah, they were pro-slavery, and they were also pro things like the Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
This is literally a genocide party that was also trying to get... The whole thing you said earlier there about the expansion of the vote to all white men was because you had to be a landholder early on.
Yeah.
Like, if you rented, you couldn't vote.
Can't vote.
And there was a lot of different stuff in there about representation. Notice they didn't say anything about women. Or anything else, but this was a big part of them.
So his 4-page newspaper contained a mix of news, advertisements, articles, court notices, editor commentary, and occasionally a puzzle. He often reported wild stories about the church. Like he once reported about the expulsion of a member of a Baptist church in New York for, quote, repeated attempts on the chastity of several virtuous females.
Oh, you tell me a member of a Baptist church. A member of a Baptist church was getting handsy with women.
Yeah,
that never happens today.
He also,
I'm glad this is a historical podcast, right? This is a comedy history podcast.
That's what this is, a comedy history podcast.
And there's no right now, currently in 2026, especially in the Baptist and Southern Baptist churches, there's never any sex scandals whatsoever.
Oh,
because these are godly people.
Yeah.
But you're saying P.T. Barnum kept pointing these out
all the time. He also reported that a Presbyterian clergyman spent hours with, quote, his hired girl 3 or 4 times a week after his wife had gone to bed. The paper also reported the same clergyman took other women one at a time to secluded fishing spots on an unfrequented road.
Wait, fishing spots.
Fishing spots. Romance.
So 1830s Presbyterians were doing the same Tinder move?
Yeah.
It's just guy with fish?
Guy with fish.
The only picture of me is me with a fish.
The guy with fish.
Be just out there, fellas, analytically, I know there's enough of you out there. Don't post a fish picture.
No.
Posting yourself with a fish, that's no bueno.
Wait, can I say something though?
Post a picture of just the fish.
No. Post a picture of you having cooked a fish. Like if you took a picture and it was like, oh, I prepared this salmon with this asparagus, and like you show that you know how to cook.
Yeah.
That you know a skill. What?
That's actually, honestly,
pretty good.
Catching fish is one thing.
Yeah.
Cooking a
Scaling
fish.
it and cooking it, knowing what herbs and spices to use.
Yeah,
being thoughtful,
Plating the fish.
Thoughtful enough to make a dinner. Come on.
Y'all, listen. I didn't do any of this and I landed her. But you don't have my personality or 8 Coors Lights, a microphone, and a spotlight on you in the back room of an open mic at a sports bar across the street from a prison.
And you don't have my lowered standards.
Nope, you don't.
Now,
that's Mrs. P, my little scratch and dent.
Oh, I'm the scratch and dent?
Yeah.
Okay. This paper was sued for libel 3 times.
P.T. Barnum's paper?
Yeah.
The Herald of Freedom.
The Herald of Freedom was sued for libel 3 times.
I do love the idea of P.T. Barnum being being the print version of Candace Owens.
So,
he'd be out here being like, that's funny, Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah.
Real crazy that suddenly you have nothing to say about what happened to Abe. Wow.
He doesn't seem that anti-Semitic from the research I've done.
He doesn't?
I didn't find that much anti-Semitism. Enough to compare him to Candace anyway.
Okay, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny. Can I tell you the part that's very funny is typically when you read people like this, there almost always is a Wikipedia section that you get down to a certain area and they go, and then there's the anti-Semitism.
No, there's worse things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
So the first libel suit was brought by a butcher who was also a politician. PT had accused him of being a spy in the Democratic caucus.
Oh.
PT was found guilty and fined several $100s.
Back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
This is back in the 1830s.
That's right. He said he was a spy at the DNC.
He was a DNC spy. You can sue people for claiming that?
You can. And
oh, wow. And there's precedent that you can win a few $100 bucks?
I'm saying.
Hey,
have you
buddy.
Ever considered?
Hey.
Have you ever considered?
Hey. Oh, man. You know what? I've saved a lot of TikToks.
Yeah. His second libel charge was filed by his own uncle and former business partner. This libel suit was withdrawn, though.
Okay.
So
he and the uncle had a
chat.
It
was a bit of a threat situation.
Got it.
The third libel suit, PT was found guilty of libeling a Presbyterian church deacon by accusing him of being a righteous hypocrite and, quote, guilty of taking advantage of a poor, destitute orphan boy.
What?
The case was based on the deacon purchasing a note worth $42 for only $25 from the orphan.
Oh.
PT was fined $100 and sentenced to 60 days in prison.
So basically there was a loaning situation. He was taking advantage of an orphan boy in 2026 has violently different connotations than back then. Yeah. Back then he was just like, oh, you scammed him.
He scammed him.
You claimed he scammed an orphan.
He's already broke. Why are you scamming him?
Yeah, exactly. He's an orphan.
Yeah. Don't worry, though.
Yeah.
He had a fully decked out cell where he often received visitors and continued to run his newspaper until release.
That's okay. I mentioned the prison across the street from where you and I met. That's Eastern State Penitentiary. And famously, Al Capone was kept there.
Yeah, luxury.
And the thing is, you can go there, you can see the cell.
Yeah.
Al Capone had a fully decked out cell as well.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Fine leather goods.
Yeah, finally, I think he had like a radio in there.
Yeah,
this is
nice
Al
couches.
Capone. But like going back to P.T. Barnum, like there's a thing in American society of like going to jail, but being like really good at it.
Yeah, like Ghislaine. How she gets to play with puppies now.
Yeah, Ghislaine gets to hang out with the puppies. And then she has Jen Shaw complaining that she's there. Jen Shaw's like, I did reputable stuff. I'm a real housewife scam.
I scammed old people.
Yeah, not children.
So he's in this decked out cell.
Yeah.
When he's released, he was accompanied home by a parade of supporters that literally paraded him home back to his house for 3 miles.
Wow.
So like he comes out, there's all these people that are big fans of the newspaper. They're like, free our boy.
Yeah.
And then he gets out and there's a full parade as they walk back to his house and cheer him the whole way.
Wow. Could you guys imagine Hugh Jackman walking down the street wearing his dead dad hat while he's being cheered by the people? They're like, you said that Presbyterian deacon abused a child. Financially.
Yeah. But listen,
Yeah.
after this happens, he's going to take a minute. He's going to collect himself.
Yeah.
And then he's going to decide to move to New York City.
Shh. We have to be quiet for this ad break, everybody, because Mrs. P is taking a nap. And she's taking a nap thanks to this week's sponsor, Brooklyn Bedding. Brooklyn Bedding is here to improve your sleep. Brooklyn Bedding makes amazing mattresses for every body and sleep style, with cooling mattresses for hot sleepers and hard-to-find sizes for all different types of bedrooms. It's easy to find your perfect match using the Brooklyn Bedding Sleep Quiz. And I can't tell you, over the last year, we've been using Brooklyn bedding mattresses, and it's helped us sleep through probably one of the worst periods in time to sit up way too late and doom scroll. When I'm sitting there staring at my phone at the horrors, I feel the mattress begin to envelop me and tell me to put that phone down. Mrs. P would tell you about how it perfectly matches her sleep style, but she's asleep on that mattress right now. But I want you to be able to try out the mattress, and I want you to be able to save a lot of money on it. All Brooklyn Bedding mattresses are designed and assembled in the USA, and Brooklyn Bedding offers a 120-night comfort trial. If you don't love your mattress, swap it or return it, hassle-free. Go to brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code TOOMANY at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That's brooklynbedding.com. Promo code TOOMANY for 30% off site-wide. Support the show and let them know that Too Many Tabs sent you. brooklynbedding.com. Promo code TOOMANY. Shh. Don't wake up Mrs. P from her nap. Wow, what a good break. Honestly, you look so well rested.
Thank you.
You look great. And you're glowing, honestly.
Oh my gosh, thanks.
That's so nice. Okay, so Mrs. P, P.T. Barnum moves to New York City. Which borough does he move to?
Manhattan.
Oh,
of
the big one.
course.
Okay.
He purchases the Scudder Museum.
Scudder Museum?
It's called the Scudder American Museum in 1841.
Okay.
He renames it to Barnum's American Museum. It's America.
Okay.
He improves the building and adds exhibits. The museum offered both strange and educational attractions and performances. Some were extremely reputable and historical and scientific, like they're good, they're real.
Okay.
While others were just balderdash.
Now, hold on. Now, when we watch the movie,
Okay.
The Greatest Showman.
Oh, I forgot about the movie.
Yeah, well, I can't. It's
Okay.
burned forever with rage to the back of my retinas,
Yeah.
all right? This is a Les Mis movie situation all over
Les
again.
Mis is a good movie.
No, it's not. But this situation, in the movie, what we see, the newspaper thing is completely glossed over.
Yeah.
They don't do any of that different stuff. He gets a job basically working as an accountant in the movie. And then the company goes under. He steals some random paperwork, then he scams a bank.
Yeah.
To then open this museum.
I think the bank fraud did happen.
Okay.
So the thing is he's holding down a couple different jobs.
Yeah.
Between the move in 1834 till 1841 when he has enough money.
Yeah.
He worked at all different types of odd jobs, did all kinds of things. And there is he moves money weird and suspicious, and he definitely works weird with money. And I think that he did do that. The issue is when I was reading through his biography, he wrote it. And you can't trust anything he says.
Got it. So this is very much an if I did it situation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is an Art of the Deal by P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So in the movie, there's that part. So he buys the building.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, he fills it with like a bunch of dead stuffed animals and wax figures.
Yep.
And then he shows it to his kids. And then his daughter's like, everything
Boring.
inside in there is dead. You need something alive and magnificent. The best part is as his daughter is saying this, his daughters are laying in bed and he's already beginning to fail at the museum. The look of smoldering rage at his daughters as they're telling him, and they're telling him basically Dad, you need to set up a freak show.
Yeah.
And as that's happening in the movie, I don't even know. I don't know if Hugh Jackman has kids. I know he's a godparent, and we'll get into that. But there was a moment when he was looking at them. I was like, I don't think he likes these kids.
I mean, some people don't like it when you give them ideas.
I don't know anyone like that.
Does Hugh Jackman have kids? Let's see. Yes, he has 2 children with his ex-wife.
Okay.
So he converted the exterior of the 5-story building and put up advertisements lit with limelight. Now, this is a big deal because back in the day, limelight was used inside the theater, not outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Limelight is okay. I want you guys to picture something. You're watching a movie that's set back in saloon days.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, for
Old
sure.
West saloon days, and they're gonna have a can come out, right?
Yeah.
You know there's these little bumps at the bottom of the stage. That's limelight.
Yeah.
And those are typically inside. They're on stages with big curtains behind them.
Yeah.
So you're saying he's putting them outside.
To light up these huge banners and advertisements he's putting
and
up
big posters
about the
and
show.
everything. Yeah.
And nobody else is doing this.
No one else
This is like, people are like, whoa, marketing.
Yeah.
What
Because again, he's doing Vince McMahon stuff.
Yeah.
He's really good
Yeah.
at it sounds like he's really good at marketing. And in the movie they kind of show he's good at marketing. He's good at like coming up with names quickly on the fly.
Oh yeah.
You know, they try to show it as him a kid. He's able to sell old newspapers as new.
Yeah.
All that type of stuff.
It's real boomer energy.
It is real.
It's pretty boomer.
Bootstraps, pull them up.
So his museum, the American Museum, was a combination zoo, museum, lecture hall, wax museum, theater, and freak show.
Oh.
Barnum filled the American Museum with dioramas, panoramas, cosmoramas.
Hold on. Wait, what is a cosmorama?
A cosmorama is like when you go into like a museum or like a zoo, sometimes they'll have like the big spread out panoramic picture of like Washington, D.C., of like the White House.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just like this huge painting or replica of big buildings that like we've seen. So like you could do like the Taj Mahal and it'd be like you got to see the Taj Mahal.
Oh, because it's so massive.
Yeah.
And it's like all enveloping.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? There's one of those actually at the Gettysburg Museum.
Oh.
Yeah. And so the Gettysburg battlefield, you can go there and there's this massive painting. I think it's of like day 2 or 3 of the Battle of Gettysburg.
Uh-huh.
And when you go there for the tour, they tell you the story of the battle, and it's supposed to be like you're standing on that hill.
Yeah.
With VR these days, actually, it's weird. It's like an early form of VR.
Yeah.
Because like with VR headsets, the ones that are stationary, more like the Oculus Rift or one of those, or excuse me, the Meta Quest. When you put it on and you're just kind of sitting there and you look around like this, it's that same idea, but you don't have the headset on. It's just the walls have been painted round.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of look around. And so in the Gettysburg battlefield, you can look around. They're like, and here's where the charge happened. And this is over. And then when you turn over this way, it's over here. And then over here. And I remember seeing it in the early 2000s. And it was it was a big deal in the early 2000s. They were like, hey, all of our tour guides have laser pointers now.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Look out.
Yeah.
I like a tour when you have a little key that's an elephant. That's pretty specific to the Philadelphia Zoo.
That's specifically the Philadelphia Zoo?
It was an elephant.
Oh, yeah, and you turn it and then a little speaker spoke? Yeah. Okay,
crushed.
so
okay, wait, I'm not even done.
I know, but they didn't have these Cosmo things in the movie.
No.
The movie solely was like, we have a room with a stuffed elephant and a giraffe and a Napoleon. And then over in this room, we have literally
Why is it me against this movie?
Because this movie sucked. You made me watch this fucking movie.
He also had scientific instruments, modern appliances, a flea circus, a loom powered by a dog.
Hold on. Stop. Hold on. All right. I haven't heard the term flea circus since the last time I watched like a 1940s Looney Tune movie or TV, like a little short.
Yeah.
That opens with the times were different back then.
Yeah.
Like there's so many like Looney Tunes things, but like growing up and like watching them, especially when they were on like Cartoon Network back in the day to like fill times. Now when I'm like, I'll sit down with the baby, I'll be like, oh, you know what, let's put on like a Looney Tune. And I'll click like a compilation.
You're like, why are there so many guns?
Every single one opens with, listen, it was a different time. And you're like, what are you talking about?
They all have warning labels now.
Yeah, no, literally, you'll be sitting there watching, and I'll be watching something I remember watching as a child 35 years ago, which is like 60 years old. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with it. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Because now you see it with the code switching.
Yeah.
But flea circuses is crazy. Because that's just a little contraption to make it look like the stuff is teeter-tottering. It's a little thing.
It's fun.
Then dog with a loom?
The dog's running the loom. He's powering it.
How does that even...
I think he's treadmilling. And
then the loom is moving the thing?
I think dog treadmilling.
I was picturing a world where the dog has to run the shuttle back and forth.
The dog's sitting, and he's like doing the loom like this, like it's Snow White. Was that Snow White?
I don't know.
Okay. He also had the trunk of a tree under which Jesus' disciples supposedly sat. I love the marketing.
That is crazy.
He just got the trunk of a tree, and he's like, the Jesus sat under this.
I heard this is a really old tree. It's
It's
so old.
Mark, Peter, and Paul. They had lunch under this tree.
It's very much of a George Washington slept here sign.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in this area, like going all the way up into New England and everything.
Yeah, blah, blah,
George
blah.
Washington slept here.
Well, because he's on a podcast tour.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to... Stay tuned. You guys might see me around with Crashing Out. You never know.
Okay, so he has the tree trunk that the disciples sat under.
Okay.
An oyster bar.
Wait. He just has an oyster bar?
You have an oyster bar.
There just is an oyster bar?
You have a bar, you serve oysters, you get the people a little drunk. It's
Can
nice.
you? Okay, hold on. I'm just picturing a world where you go to, like, I've been to museums, right? Like the Franklin Institute and a bunch of other museums. They'll do like adult nights, right? And they're like, oh my God, come to this museum. You can have a couple of beers. And the Franklin Institute is really cool. They will do science experiments, stuff like that. And they'll show you like how to shoot electricity. Or I did a pro wrestling thing there. I refereed a pro wrestling match at the Franklin Institute for the Knights thing. And that's cool. But imagine you're going to a museum and then someone's like, yeah, what are you doing? Oh yeah, I'm just a little hungry.
Yeah.
Do you want a snack that makes you horny?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on slurping back some raw shelled fish?
You want
mollusks?
Really the smelliest, grossest snack that weirdly makes you horny later?
Yup.
Huh?
They also had a rifle range.
That makes sense. Honestly, you did say it's Barnum's American Museum. If they didn't have a rifle range, I would have suspected things.
Communism.
Yeah.
Waxworks. It was a wax museum.
That was in the movie. That was like, so far, by the way, nothing you've listed in here has been in. There's so many interesting things they're leaving out of this movie to insert millennial, stomp, whoop, suspender slapping tunes. At one point, they literally just go, oh, and the whole time I'm like, someone's about to serve me fries in a tin.
Yeah. Glass blowers, taxidermists, phrenologists.
Wait. Pause. Phrenologists.
They had professional phrenologists there.
Those are guys who would walk up and they touch your head and be like, why? I can't touch your hair?
Don't touch my hair.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Anyway,
you're not a phrenologist, number one.
Okay. Well, number one.
Two, my hair takes time.
No, well, with a Philadelphia accent, you're not a phrenologist. It's really close.
What do you think? You're the Philly fanatic of phrenology over here?
Yo, not for nothing, you're not a phrenologist. Listen.
You didn't go to community college for phrenology.
Listen, all I'm saying is this dude walks up and he rubs your head and he tells you, he's like, yo, you're not.
That's a good looking head.
I'm just saying, dude, according to this bump right over here, you're bad at math.
Also, pretty baby contests.
I'm sorry, what?
Pretty baby shows, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Featured contests for prettiest baby, fattest baby, finest triplet, and most promising.
Finest triplet? He's putting the triplets against each other?
Yeah, which one's the best?
I love the fact that this, okay, as you've described this over time, once you hit pretty baby contest, can I tell you where I'm now picturing this?
Yeah.
P.T. Barnum is a minor league baseball team.
What?
Because, like, if you go to a minor league baseball game, nobody's there for the game.
Oh,
they have to do all this, like, crazy, wacky stuff.
Fireworks, cowboy monkey.
And that's how you end up with the Savannah Bananas.
Yep.
Which can I tell you?
Yeah.
I want to go to. I refuse to allow conservatives to have Savannah Bananas.
No, we got to steal it.
We don't. There's certain things we're like, oh, it's family friendly, and that means automatically people think it's conservative coded. No.
We're gonna lib it up.
I'm going to a Savannah Bananas game.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna lib it up. I'll go there. I'll go to a Savannah Bananas game wearing an Obama shirt. I don't give a fuck.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then I'll be like, "Where you want to go?"
Barnum PT utilized celebrity judges and local moms to ensure respectability of these baby contests. Got the best moms in the game out here judging these babies.
I think that's my level of celebrity. I think that might be where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think
judging babies.
I think
that's a good-looking baby.
I think 5 million followers.
You got 3 babies. That one right there. That's the cutest one.
Middle baby.
Middle baby.
Middle baby's the cutest one. The other 2, uggos. I think that's because I did a thing over the last weekend.
Yeah.
I went to South Fellini.
You gave out mini weenies.
I gave out mini weenies at South Fellini, and like 200 people came out and said hi.
I know.
And nobody had me judge any babies. I did feed a couple mini weenies to tiny dogs.
Yeah.
And at one point, I did my same pose with everyone. I'm like, I did that pose.
Yeah.
And this one guy screamed with me, and he scared 2 children. So
that counts.
I bought them stickers. I was like, oh, you get stickers. Here's stickers. Like the South Fellini has a lot of really cool stuff, including stickers.
These events are widely considered precursors to modern child pageants.
So if P.T. Barnum didn't exist, JonBenet Ramsey would be alive. That's what you just said. That's what you just said. That's what you just said.
The Grand National Baby Show was one of his biggest ones, was so popular it attracted 61,000 visitors. You can't dead air. Okay.
I can dead air.
You cannot dead air.
I need I need the listeners, okay? Specifically the listeners.
Yeah.
The viewers, they just watched me pause for a while.
Yeah.
But the listeners needed to sit in that for a minute.
Yeah.
61,000 people came out.
To the Grand National Baby Show.
This is insane. And he's not like we have new Rattler technology here. So they're just there just to look at babies.
Look at these babies. You guys got some fresh babies?
Now, here's the thing I'll say. Having recently, in the last few years, had a baby.
Yeah.
Our kid would win.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think
dude.
that's how we.
For sure, dude. You're like, I got the cutest baby. I'm going in.
And I'm sure there was a registration fee.
And then you got a ribbon, probably.
Yeah.
And you got a stunt on all your friends.
Yeah, because you even said in their fattest baby, right? Yeah. Listen.
Oh, we would have nailed that category.
Yeah, and because listen, you got them fat little thighs.
Yeah.
Oh, who's got cutest baby toes? My kid. It's always going to be my kid.
Dad fist fights.
It doesn't matter. And right now, there are people who are going on to Apple Podcasts to give us 1 star because they're like, how dare you say your kid is nicer than us? Which is why we need all of you listeners to give us 5 stars.
5 stars, please.
5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Thank you.
All right?
Also, I was not done my list of things that are at this museum.
Shut the fuck
I just
up.
took a sidebar to talk about the baby shows.
This is why I hate private equity. Because they would have come in and streamlined all of it. That's the thing. They came in and streamlined. We know him as the circus guy.
Yeah.
You have now listed so many things that don't even fucking exist anymore.
Ned the Learned Seal.
What?
That's the name of the learned seal, the seal that could do tricks. Ned the Learned Seal.
Well, now that is just owned by SeaWorld, which is owned by Blackstone.
Private equity.
Yeah, Brian, which we did an episode on.
Yep.
Which has not been paying Sesame Street, we found out.
Oh, yeah. They might be closing Sesame Street because private equity's been failing to pay them.
Yeah,
Their royalties.
Sesame Place is owned by Blackstone, and they're owed royalties. And one day, for some reason, they just stopped
Imagine getting
paying.
Sued by Big Bird, dude.
Yeah.
You're getting sued by Big Bird?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Imagine going to court against Elmo. Oh, look here. You owe us money. How much money? 1, 2, 3,
Oh, he flipped the bird, everybody.
Yeah.
They also had the Fiji Mermaid.
Oh, I know that one. I know the Fiji Mermaid.
Yeah, what do you know about it?
Yes, okay. That was fake.
Yes, it was.
It was a monkey and a lizard.
It was a monkey and a fishtail.
Yes. And because I remember this is one of those things when I was younger, when they were trying to teach us to watch out for scams.
Yeah.
They would teach us specifically about the Fiji Mermaid. I forgot that was actually
And the
P.T. Barnum.
jackalopes.
And the jackalope's another one.
Yeah.
So you could just create stuff. And now it's now you'd have to teach kids about AI.
They just do AI.
They just do AI. But back in the day, they're like, listen, people would spend the time to go make this.
He also had little people. He did not use that term. Mm-hmm. He had giants.
Okay.
He had...
in the movie, they made him an Irish giant.
Yes.
The guy showed up. He's like, I'm Russian. He's like, you're Irish.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a Vince McMahon move. That's straight up a Vince McMahon move. I think he's literally done that. He's taken Irish people and made them Russian, and Russian people and made them Irish.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon has done that. Also, in the movie, he also doesn't. He never uses the bad word.
Yeah.
For little people.
No.
And but they go out of their way in the movie, and the whole time I was like, I feel like back then they just said it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay, they also had a pair of Siamese twins named Chang and Ang.
Chang and Ang.
Yeah.
They're the reason we know the term Siamese twins is because Chang and Ang are from what was then called Siam.
Yes.
And so everyone got to, because of how famous they became for being conjoined twins, everyone called it that. Now we refer to them as conjoined twins.
Yes.
But even when I was a kid, the people were still calling them Siamese twins. But what's crazy about them, they came in from, I think it was somewhere in the Carolinas, but they were even as conjoined twins who were from Asia, they were slave owners.
What?
Yeah. They came to America, they got married, had a butt ton of kids.
A butt ton of kids?
21.
Okay, so there are 2 guys.
Yeah.
They married 2 women, and then they... Oh my God! Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to do the math on this.
I know. I was picturing how it went. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to do the math on this.
I don't want to do it.
Every time I hear about the conjoined, this is one of the things though of why people get into conjoined twins. And remember a while ago, why they get really interested because they'll be like, well, what's the math? What's the procedure here? And the reason why I mention that is I remember back in the talk show days, because remember I did the Jerry Springer episode a long time ago, 3 years ago. We did an episode about Jerry Springer, and in that we talked about freak shows and the modern side of it. Jerry Springer and a bunch of these other daytime talk shows, they would regularly have conjoined twins on.
Yeah.
And half the audience's questions were like, oh, but you got a boyfriend, then who, what? And then one's like, I take a nap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just how, but it's like, this is weird.
Sometimes you just gotta take a nap.
Sometimes you just gotta take a nap
Okay.
while the other one's busy.
They had a bunch of animals in
twins?
the building. No. Okay.
Oh, P.T. Barnum.
In the museum.
In the museum.
Because I said there's like a zoo in there.
Yeah.
They've got grizzly bears, elephants, and beluga whales in giant tanks.
Baby Beluga? Like the
Yeah.
Raffi song?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know the Raffi song, Baby Beluga?
No.
Baby Beluga. Okay.
They
Well,
also had Native Americans who performed traditional songs and dances,
Human Zoo.
magicians,
Okay.
ventriloquists,
Okay.
and blackface minstrels who performed biblical tales and Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yep. That's, I think that last part, especially the Uncle Tom's Cabin part, is, I think, in Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Because we're around Gangs of New York time. Mm-hmm. Just want to point out, when we watched The Greatest Showman,
Yeah.
none of that was in there.
They didn't put that in
They
there.
had conjoined
They
twins.
didn't put the know-nothings in there fighting in the streets.
They didn't put no nothing guys kind of show up.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's some guys show up to like to rough up. They're like, oh, we don't like that your freaks are around here.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
and they burn the place down in the thing.
Hold that thought
Okay.
for later. Hold that thought for
Okay.
later. Okay. Barnum often published articles in newspapers claiming that his exhibits were fake, which caused audiences to show up in mass to see for themselves.
Oh.
He was a big proponent of no, like bad press is not bad press. You know what I mean?
All press is good press.
That's it. That's what I was
yes,
thinking.
I like that you went with the negative.
Yeah, sorry.
Bad press is good press. No, all press is good press. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Actually, what's his, again, that's Vince.
Vince
McMahon believed that. Who taught Trump to believe that?
Oh, God.
Because Trump knows if you just put his name out there, then they're not they're talking about, at the minimum, they're talking about you.
Yeah.
They're always talking about you. And we actually saw that in the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
He gets the write-up from the one guy who's like, this whole thing is trash and I hate it. And then
he's
he
like,
would
print it everywhere.
Yeah, he goes, reprint the review and put, if you bring this, you get half off.
Yeah, to get in.
And again, it's also one of those things. It's the same thing with the Howard Stern show back in the day. There's a thing from the Howard Stern movie, Private Parts.
Okay.
There's a scene in there where they talk about people who listen to the Howard Stern show. They said people that like him listen to him for 30 minutes a day. And they said, okay. And they said people that hate him listen to him for an hour.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
and this is the thing, this is how social media works.
We need more haters to listen to our podcast.
Honestly,
No, thank you.
I don't
need to
because
do that.
I don't want to turn into a lolcow,
Yeah.
which we did an episode on. We're talking about
Okay.
Christianity and other things. Because again, this is P.T. Barnum stuff and how this gets extrapolated for in the future.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so he makes all those advertisements. Then he started printing these massive colored posters to display all the exhibits that were often just flat out lies and exaggerations
Yeah.
of what the exhibits were.
Yeah, they were TikTok Shop AI videos.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Anybody who's been on TikTok Shop, honestly, anybody who's tried to purchase something from the internet,
Yeah.
there's a whole genre of content creator right now is just people who buy stuff from Temu and then and they show you what they bought and then they open it.
Yeah. I literally was talking about
You
this
were talking
last
about
night.
doing it.
I got the craziest Temu ad.
It was for this massive couch.
It was for a huge couch. It had 50 pillows on it, and it was clearly a picture of an AI picture. And
Yes.
I was just I need to know what they're gonna send me.
Yeah.
But I have never ordered from Temu. I don't think I ever will.
Yeah.
I don't trust the situation after that Super Bowl ad they did.
Yeah. But Mrs. P, can I tell you something right now? Yeah, you can't trust those advertisements, but can I tell you what you can trust? This sponsor. This week's episode of Too Many Tabs has been sponsored by Delete Me. And now, a word from our sponsor, Delete Me. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I protect my family from data brokers on the internet. Delete! That's right, I just removed Mrs. Pearlmania's information from data brokers by using Delete Me. Delete Me is a service that helps you remove your information and your family's information from data brokers, people finder websites, and background check organizations all across the internet. It's a great platform. we used it ourselves and we discovered that we had so much information that was out there that was for sale for anyone. And I want to offer you a special deal on this platform right now. Go to joindeleteme.com/pearlmania20 today to save 20% on a Delete Me membership. That's right. This is going to be a great way to make sure that you're protected, your family's protected, and you're going to feel all of those savings. joindeleteme.com/pearlmania20. Save 20% today. Now, how do I bring her back? Oh, I know how to do it. And back to the show. So tell me more about these deceptive practices that P.T. Barnum was doing back in the 1800s.
So, okay, here's the other thing. This is a bit deceptive. It's okay. At one point, PT noticed that people were lingering too long at the exhibits.
Okay.
So he posted signs that indicating this way to the egress.
Oh, this way to egress. Okay.
Not knowing that egress was another word for exit, people followed the signs to what they assumed was a fascinating exhibit, only to end up outside. Love it.
Honestly?
So funny.
That's great.
That's incredible.
I will give it to him. All right. He's starting to turn into a scammer with a heart of gold on that one. That's mischievous.
Yeah.
That's mischievous. Because I would say, the egress, because, there are words that are similar. Egret?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a bird.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would think, if I didn't know what egress meant, I would think it was a bird exhibit.
I would think it's a bird exhibit.
Yeah, and you were like, oh, just through this door.
Yeah.
And then slam the door behind you and you're out on the 1800 Manhattan sidewalk covered in horse shit.
I do fear immediately that I've given away too much about myself, because now people will know how to trick me into walking into a Looney Tunes style box trap by putting up a big arrow sign that says birds, interesting birds this way. I just start
mouse.
Tufted titmouse.
Yeah. What's the black-eyed
dark-eyed Jinko.
That one. Woof, what a name.
What a name.
At its peak, the museum was open 15 hours a day and had many as 15,000 visitors a day.
15,000?
That's why he's getting them through the egress.
And they're open 15 hours a day?
Yes.
That's crazy. And this is pre-light bulbs.
Yeah.
We're like pre-light bulbs. We're doing
day to night. Work.
We're doing torches. We're doing the limelight.
38 million customers paid the 25 cents admission to visit the museum between 1841 and 1865. The total population of the United States in 1860 was under 32 million.
So 6 million more people than there were people went through his building.
Yes.
That's fucking nuts.
Repeat customers, baby.
Well, that's what when you start to listen, he keeps adding stuff, so he
there's
gives you no reason.
There's always something new to see.
Yeah, there's always something new.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Okay. During the Civil War, Barnum's
Oh my God, I just realized this was all during... The Civil War's not even in the fucking movie. It's not even in the fucking movie, babe. Mm-hmm. That whole movie.
Yeah.
They got Zac Efron and Zendaya
in
an interracial relationship during Civil War times.
Yeah.
And they don't even mention the fucking Civil War. Slavery never comes up once. They just have to stomp, whoop, sing at each other.
So Barnum's museum drew large audiences seeking diversion from the conflict. So he added pro-union exhibits, lectures, and dramas.
Yeah.
He demonstrated a commitment to the cause, and he even hired Pauline Cushman in 1864, an actress who had served as a spy for the Union, to give a lecture about her thrilling adventures behind Confederate lines.
Okay. So he really is different than Candace Owens.
Yes.
Because he's pro-union.
Okay. Yeah. Just again, table that.
Yeah. Well, okay. But real quick, because he's doing the pro-union stuff, right? That is a big switch, because you were talking about when he had the newspaper side being the Jacksonian side of things, which was very Democrat, pro-slavery. Now he's in New York. It sounds more like he's, back then, Republican and pro-union and anti-slavery.
Exactly.
Okay.
He does become what they would call Republican back then.
Yeah, an abolitionist.
Yeah.
Is really what matters more than anything else over that total.
In November of 1864, the Confederate Army of Manhattan attempted and failed to burn down the museum.
Wait, hold on.
Yes?
In 1864, there was a Confederate Army of Manhattan, New York?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've never heard of this. I've heard of the Army of the Potomac.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of the Virginia battalions and all these different generals, all these different guys.
Yeah.
I've never heard of, I'm sorry, what was it called again? The
Confederate Army of Manhattan.
Okay, so there's what, like 10,000 like Confederate sympathizers?
It was a group of 8 Southern operatives.
8?
8.
8? And they call themselves an army?
8.
8 isn't even a synagogue. You got to have 12 to get a fucking rabbi. They're not an army. That's it. That's a Confederate squad at best. Mm-hmm. That is 8?
These 8 Southern operatives, basically on Friday night, November 25th, starting around 8:45 p.m., the group attempted to simultaneously start fires all over New York City. 19 hotels, a theater, and P.T. Barnum's American Museum. They tried to light them all on fire.
Okay.
The objective was to overwhelm the city's firefighting resources by distributing fires around the city.
Okay. So this was they were trying to do Confederate 9/11?
Yeah.
Because everything you named, the hotels, but also the Barnum Museum, is just because they're well known. These are opportunity attacks. And again, it's kind of for publicity and marketing.
Yeah.
Look, we can get all the way past enemy lines into New York and attack the Barnum Museum.
Yeah.
Again, not in the movie.
Not in the movie.
This is fascinating.
Not in the movie.
Would have loved to have heard about this.
Not in the
because
movie.
in the movie, it gets burned down by a mob of guys.
Yeah.
There's more than 8 of them, though. And you're telling me these 8 guys, it didn't happen.
They didn't successfully burn it to the ground.
Okay.
They only were able to arrest one of the guys. 7 got away.
7 of them got away?
Never to be caught. Only caught one guy.
Well, this is
and
back-
he escaped prison, actually. I looked him up.
What?
He got out.
He got out?
He got out. He sneaked out.
This is the thing, though. This is one of the downsides of living in this technological era. And like back then, they didn't even understand the concept because they don't understand tracking the way it is.
Yeah.
But like now, there's credit reports, there's phone tracking, there's the internet, there's IP addresses, there's all these different things, right? Now, you can never get away from who you are.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to be you. But back then, you just went 2 counties over.
Never to be
and no
found
one
again.
would fucking know. And that's where you put your other family.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so here's the thing. The American Museum did burn to the ground in one of the biggest fires New York City has ever seen in July of 1865. So 1 year later,
Okay.
it did fully fucking burn down.
It did burn down.
Yes.
And was it because of a mob?
No. Animals in the museum were seen jumping from the burning building only to be immediately shot by the police.
Okay, not in the movie. That wasn't in the movie. I want to just point that out. You know what was in the movie? In the movie, Zac Efron goes running into a flaming building, and he's like, Zendaya, no! And he goes running into the flaming building.
Yeah, she
right?
makes it out.
She comes running out from around the corner, and she was like, I was out of the building. And then P.T. Barnum, Hugh Jackman, looks at his wife and children and goes, I gotta do this.
I gotta save Zac Efron.
The whole building is surrounded by people.
Yeah.
They're surrounded. He goes running in.
Yeah.
And then carries out Zac Efron like he was Supergirl from the cover of Crisis on Infinite Earths. A reference that 3 people understand.
Okay, so many of the animals were unable to escape the blaze and died in their enclosures, including the 2 beluga whales.
Can I just say they could have done the Pee Wee Herman freeing the animals thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna lie so much in this movie, if you're gonna change so many things, show P.T. Barnum saving a whale. Show him running out of the building with birds and the tigers and everything else. And then ignore the fact that the cops just started shooting any animal that they saw. Because for real, if I'm a New York City cop in 1865, right?
Yeah.
And an orangutan comes blasting out of a flaming window,
It's on
pop, pop, buddy. Pop, pop. That's just how that's going to go. All right? I'm not risking anything. That museum is full of like cannibals and shit.
Actually, he did not save them. At one point, the reason the beluga whales died,
because they're in water.
Because he cracked the glass panes of their tank in an attempt to put out the fire with the water. So the beluga whales actually died in the flames because he smashed their tanks trying to put out the fire.
So he thought he could break the wall and flood the entire floor with the beluga whale tanks.
Yeah.
Which just killed the whales.
Yeah.
So he killed the whales.
Yeah.
He did reverse Free Willy.
Yes.
He did Murder Willie. Mm-hmm. Motherfucker. And this is who Hugh Jackman wanted to be?
The fire was likely started by a broken gas line in a neighboring restaurant. And the whole building did collapse within an hour and a half.
This is that, which they showed that in the movie.
Yeah.
Mind you, again, this is all happening Civil War times. You never even see like a soldier in the movie.
No.
New York City was like basically occupied by soldiers during that time.
It was allegedly during this fire that a fireman by the name of Johnny Denham killed an escaped tiger with his axe before rushing into the burning building and carrying out a 400-pound woman on his shoulders.
He made that up. That's made up. They faked that one.
Yeah.
That's
that feels like a PT plant, like a
That's
PT
100%. That's 100%. Also, I keep forgetting because during the movie, one of the people like, look at this freak. Oh my God, he's a human oddity. He's just fat.
Yeah.
He's just a fat guy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
A little big. And they're like, yeah, honestly, let's pretend you're even fatter.
Let's pop the numbers.
We gotta juice some numbers over here. This is crazy.
Yeah.
They said that a single firefighter, because he killed a tiger with an axe, and then he picked up the biggest lady he ever did see and carried her to safety, right past a boiled whale. Fucking psycho. Jesus Christ.
Okay, now, before all that happened.
All of this, by the way, just mind you, again, they didn't want to show any of this in the movie. They just wanted to put Hugh Jackman in a fucking hat and a top hat.
Yeah.
And a top hat and a red coat.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to put Hugh Jackman in a top hat and a big red coat and then have him do this move a couple times.
So, Barnum at a certain point, PT had gone on tour, a European tour. Okay, I don't want to get into all the stuff on the tour.
They show it in the movie.
Yeah, they do show a little bit of the tour. And he discovers this singer, Jenny Lind, who is known as the Swedish Nightingale.
Oh, so she's Zara Larsson.
Who is that?
She's a Swedish singer.
Oh, okay.
People like her.
I don't know who that is.
We're not supposed to.
Oh.
But every now and then, my any one of my FYPs show me a Zara Larsson like fan cam of like a concert, and every time I go, not interested.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
Yeah.
And every time my FYP going,
are you sure you don't know a little about Zara Larsson?
We're gonna show
Brie
you.
Larson.
Who?
Brie Larson.
Yeah, Brie Larson.
I know who she is.
That's the actress. Zara
Yeah.
Larsson is a Swedish singer.
Oh, okay.
And her music to me, I'm not. It's fine.
You're not the target audience.
I'm not the target audience. And this is the thing. This is where, this is what's crazy though. I think I was supposed to be the target audience for this movie, The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
I am not the target audience for that movie. It's a bad movie.
Okay. So he discovers this singer, Jenny Lind.
Okay.
During this tour.
The Swedish Nightingale.
The Swedish Nightingale. He had never heard Lind sing, but the word of mouth about her singing was so good, he offered her the chance to sing in the United States for $1,000 a night for 150 nights, all expenses paid.
That's $150,000.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Lind,
That's a good.
Jenny demanded the fee in advance, and Barnum agreed.
For the whole thing.
Bitch, pay me up front.
Up front,
what I'm
150.
saying.
Okay.
Pay me up front.
And listen, back then, that's a shit ton of money.
Yeah. She used the fee to raise, she donated the fee basically to charities, principally endowing schools for poor children in Sweden. Now, Barnum borrowed heavily on his mansion and his museum to raise the money to pay Lind.
Okay.
He was still short some funds, so he persuaded a Philadelphia minister that Lind would be a positive influence on American morals, and the minister lent him the final $6,000.
Can I say?
Yeah.
I'm not shocked that somehow you tied this to Philadelphia.
I didn't know I was going to when I was writing this.
Okay. Well, you did.
Okay.
You did.
I didn't even mean to.
Also, I find it interesting that he's doing this whole moral pitch when in the movie, the whole thing is that people hate him and the freaks and everything else because they're truly the moral ones.
Yeah, no, he is like fully a moralist. We'll get into it a little bit later in this, but he likes to. It's interesting because in the beginning, when he had his newspaper, he was so anti-church and like hyper morality. But he's kind of.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
he definitely like starts leaning into that in a different way. Later. So the contract also afforded Lind the option of withdrawing from the tour after 60 or 100 performances, but she would have to pay PT $50,000 to get out of her contract. Which would be $1.5 million in today's market if she broke the contract.
Okay, so if $50,000 is 1.5, then he's paying her $4.5 million up front.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount of money.
Lind
in today's money. I'm saying that's just like a crazy amount for that many concerts. And again, for somebody he's never heard.
Yeah, he's never heard her sing.
He's never heard her sing.
He's only heard she's good.
He's only ever heard she's good.
You got to hear she's real good.
And then the whole time she's like, this is for the orphans.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, and notice I did a British accent. Because in the fucking movie, the Swedish Nightingale has a British accent for some, oh, look at me, I'm the Swedish Nightingale.
Have you ever heard a Swedish accent?
Yes, because I've heard Zara Larsson talk too many times on fucking Instagram reels. But no, Swedish accent, I mean, even back then, there should be like a Inga Bergen. Like, there's like a little bit of...
She's the Swedish chef.
Yeah, Swedish chef. What I did, yeah. Swedish chef, Swedish Nightingale.
Lind and her small party sailed to the United States in September of 1850.
She got a small posse crew.
She was a celebrity before she arrived because Barnum had spent months in preparation marketing her. Nearly 40,000 people greeted her at the docks. When the boat landed, another 20,000 people were at her hotel cheering when she arrived. And PT had merchandise sold at the docks and the hotel. He had the merch ready.
That's so smart. That's so smart. I can't tell you how often I'm like, I wish I want merch ready.
I got some merch ready. Anyway, I don't talk about it.
Okay, well, we'll save it.
It's
okay.
a secret.
But I love this idea. Also, this is also one of those things from back in the day. There's only been a few times more recently where we've seen things. I think about a few years ago, a year or two ago, like Kai Cenat did a thing in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, I'm going to be at this, like, I think it was like some small park.
Yeah, and then like 40,000 teenagers showed up.
It wasn't even that many. It was like 2,000.
It felt like it.
I know, but I'm saying it was like 2,000.
Too many teenagers.
But regardless, I mean, back in the day, there were so many times, like pre-television, pre-phone, pre-smartphone, all these different things. There's so many times. Like, there's like famous ones, I think especially from like World War I era, where before movies really took off, where there was like guys in front of Wall Street, like doing acrobatics and stuff like that. They're like, we're going to do some tumbling for you, gentlemen. And it's like all these guys in a lunch break. It's like 25,000 people on the lunch break to be like, hey, look at that. That guy can do a backflip.
That's nice.
Meanwhile, now it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, we're just on the subway trying to go to work. It's a really nice backflip. I got to go to work.
We got to go, man.
Okay. So when she sees how many people are there, the merch, the people at the hotel, she realizes that she stands to make a lot more money than she had thought. So she insists upon a new contract.
Okay.
Immediately, and Barnum signs it. This contract paid Lind the original fee plus the remainder of each concert's profits after Barnum's $5,500 management fee.
Okay.
Lind was determined to accumulate as much money as she possibly could for her charities.
Okay. Because she got to help the orphans.
She's helping the orphans.
All right. So and by the way, she sounds like a good person.
Yeah.
The musical.
No, she's not like that. She's very like plain dressed. She's very plain.
No, they try to make her like.
She's not like fancy schmancy.
No, they try to make her like real sexy. And then what type of music is she saying?
She's like opera. It's like an opera singer.
Yeah, see, exactly. They don't even do. She's just like some modern song during it. When she was singing, I was like, is this Sia? Like it was very like every song.
America's Got Talent. I was waiting for Simon Cowell to like hit the button.
Every fucking song in this had like 2010. It was just like 2010. It was like somebody just heard a Mumford & Sons song or Lumineers or Sia or something else. I was like, I know exactly what audience this was targeted for.
Us.
It was us.
The tour began with a concert at Castle Garden on September 11th, 1850.
What? It was their own 9/11?
It was a major success.
Okay.
Recouping Barnum 4 times his investment. Tickets for some of her concerts were in such demand that Barnum sold them at auction.
And these were pre-Ticketmaster.
Yes. Public enthusiasm was so strong that the press coined the term Lind Mania.
Oh, come on. Linsanity is right there. That's bullshit. There was a basketball player in New York that had a big deal. He played like 2 games. And he was on the cover of every magazine. Linsanity!
The blatant commercialism of Barnum's ticket auctions distressed Lind, and she persuaded him to reserve a substantial portion of tickets at reduced prices for lower income people to attend the shows.
Yeah. Which is exactly like what so many artists want to do today.
Yeah, they can't.
They can't because of Ticketmaster. But good news. Donald Trump and his Department of Justice with Pam Bondi.
Ticketmaster.
They love it. They gave him a small fine and said, yeah, you got to get rid of like 2 arenas or something.
You guys are fine or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ticketmaster's still in control of everything. No, it's not changing.
On the tour, Barnum's publicity was always preceding Lind's arrival to generate enthusiasm, as he had as many as 26 journalists on his payroll at all times.
Oh, so he's paying journalists, and back then the journalists were basically influencers.
Yeah, exactly.
So he literally has a little influencer corps.
Yeah, exactly.
Running around, writing up stuff about everything. That's smart.
After New York, the company toured the East Coast with continued success and later traveled through the southern states and Cuba. By early 1851, Lind had become uncomfortable with Barnum's relentless marketing, and she invoked a contractual right to sever ties with him. They parted amicably. Lind performed 93 concerts in the U.S. for Barnum, earning her about $350,000, while Barnum netted at least $500,000, equivalent to $19 million in 2025.
So that's so crazy because in the movie, they don't even imply it. They like make it a whole plot point. They're like, this Swedish redhead with a British accent really wants to bone Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, no, she
and
didn't
he
like
just
him.
needs to get back to Michelle Williams.
Yeah, no, she did not like him.
Yeah.
She was just like, he's really good at being a manager, but eventually he's just so annoying. She's like, ugh.
He's such a scumbag.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's getting the money shakes.
He's the best promoter in the game.
He literally gets Cody Rhodes money shakes.
Who's the promoter with the ponytail that I used to think was so funny? He had like the slick back ponytail for, he used to do Brock Lesnar's intro.
Paul Heyman.
She's very Paul Heyman.
He's
in
Paul
my mind.
Heyman. Yeah, no, he's Paul Heyman. He's Don King.
Yeah.
He's very Don King for the boxers. Yes, 100%. I love that you remember Paul Heyman of having a slick back ponytail and not as just a little balding nightmare who ripped off so many wrestlers in the early 2000s.
I thought he was pretty funny.
Yeah, he is a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's also evil.
It's wrestling.
I know.
That's just how it is.
No, but I mean, all out of character, he's also kind of evil.
All right, listen, let's take a break.
Okay.
And so that I can gather my thoughts.
Yeah, because I just can't get, I just want to say, The Greatest Showman character assassinated her.
They really did.
They really did. Because everything you're describing to me is a plain dressed woman who only cares about orphans.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can raise up so much money
She's
for
like,
orphans.
I'm going to be able to get so much money for charity
I can help
right now.
so many people.
Yeah.
And then I go back to probably a nunnery or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, she just feels like that way.
And they made her a sexy redhead. That's what they
With
do.
a British accent. Who desperately wants...
And then the whole thing is, in the movie, they're like, oh, because she breaks his contract, it destroys him and he loses his house.
Yeah.
That's not true. A different business opportunity destroyed him, and he did lose his house, one of many.
But that's much later
But
because...
it's different.
Yeah, but that's much later, though. And also, they imply that the place burns down at the same time as this breakup happens.
The timelines are wrong.
Yeah, because this is 15 years before the fucking place burns down.
Let's take a
and
break.
It wasn't burned down by a fucking mob. It was burned down by a gas line. So, Mrs. P, one thing that's crazy that I'm realizing now is that we've now covered the movie.
Yeah.
We've covered most of the movie now because the movie ends with that thing burning down.
Yeah.
The museum burning down, him and Lind having like their breakup, the museum burning down, and then he's just like, oh, well, we don't need a building. We could get a tent. And then it just closes with a circus story.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not what happened.
That's not what happened.
No.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that this Hugh Jackman movie is completely full of lies.
Back at the museum, he wants to get into theater. And theater at the time is considered really indecent, but he wants theaters to become more respectable middle-class entertainment.
Wait, hold on. That's the reverse of the movie. That's the reverse of the movie. In the movie, theaters are respectable, but the Zoo Museum isn't. They're like, the Zoo Museum, that's like Jerry Springer style trash.
Yeah.
You want to be respectable like the theaters. And he even brings in Zac Efron, who I think at one point is supposed to be British.
I don't know what.
I think at one point he's supposed to be British, and then they forget his accent about halfway through.
Yeah.
But they're like, he's supposed to be respectable, and his parents now hate him because of all this stuff. By the way, I looked it up. I did look it up as I was looking through this movie.
Yeah.
Zac Efron's character and Zendaya, completely made up.
Oh, okay.
The character of Carlisle, the playwright, never fucking existed.
That checks
It's
out.
just a guy they created. Same thing with Zendaya's character. Completely made up because they're like, we need to have like a love story over here on the side.
Yeah.
And like, is it a love story?
It doesn't seem like they really talk. They just kind of make eyes at each other.
And they hold hands once or twice. But then also there's a power imbalance because, you know, it's 1860 something.
Yeah.
She's a black woman trying to survive in New York.
Yeah.
And he is a junior partner in the business that employs her.
Yeah.
That's fucking, what are we talking about here?
So he builds New York City's largest and most modern theater, and he named it the Moral Lecture Room.
P.T. Barnum created the Moral Lecture Room?
Moral Lecture Room.
Okay.
Would be a place I would never go.
So actually, there's a place right off of Times Square, because I noticed it the last time I was up there and I was walking by, where it's just off Broadway.
Okay.
There is like a permanent like Christian theater there.
Okay.
That is like always running sermons.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's like always running sermons. This is what kind of what that feels like.
And they had vans that would just drop people off.
Yeah, this is kind of what that feels like a little bit.
Barnum hoped that this would attract the family crowd and win the approval of the city's moral crusaders. He started the nation's first theatrical matinees to encourage families and to lessen their fears of crime.
Matinees were invented because they're like, listen, come here at 2.
Sun's
1 o'clock.
out, guns out.
Sun's out, guns in.
Oh.
Sun's out, guns in.
No.
Also, we'll keep the hookers over there.
Oh, yep.
We'll keep the
also,
hookers 2 blocks over.
I love a matinee. So like,
We love a
thank
matinee.
you,
Listen,
thank you. We love a matinee.
I try to mostly book matinees.
I know.
Mainly because of our audience. We got things to do.
We got places to be. We want to find parking. We want to get a meal. We want to be home in our soft pants by a reasonable time.
And babysitters are easier to get daytime hours than they are at night. All right?
Okay,
So, yeah.
come on. The theater opened with a show called The Drunkard.
What?
Which is basically a temperance lecture. And Barnum had, because the whole thing is he's become like a sober zealot at this point.
That is not in the movie. That's the reverse of the movie. What are you talking about? In the movie, they have the only scene I liked in the entire movie is when Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron are dancing in a bar. And the bartender is clearly like part of it. He's like, I got to get this guy drunk and then he can work with me and I'll get him out of the theater. This whole thing. And the bartender's doing these cool moves in the background and like they're sliding shot glasses around.
Yeah.
You're telling me by that point he was sober?
Yeah.
And he hated alcohol.
Yeah. He became one of those sober people that like starts hating alcohol for everybody else.
But to be fair, like all of America was hammered at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Like pre-prohibition America was like
they were dying of crazy alcohol.
Yeah, and also the alcohol wasn't regulated.
That's what I mean. Like
yeah.
it's like you were getting poisoned by the alcohol.
People were going blind. Like, people were literally going blind drunk.
Yeah.
It is a thing that can happen.
So
The proof level is so high.
Also, the whole thing is like he's a zealot for sobriety. These shows like The Drunkard and these matinee shows became really popular with women because alcoholism was becoming so rampant among working class men that they were seeking like a place to go and hear about like sobriety and stories of like successful like men getting sober.
Yeah, and the thing is, the other reason why the alcoholism is getting so bad is before then you kind of had to know the place where they made that one specific type of alcohol, and we're getting into industrialization.
Yep.
So you can like liquor stores are starting to show up.
Yeah.
You can go to a bar and it has more than just one cask of something. You know, like if you go watch a thing where it's like, oh, it's like ancient times or whatever, like medieval times, and there's like 3 big barrels. That was what they had for the year.
Of Pepsi.
Yeah, now you're getting into the times of like, oh, we can get I get a quart or something.
The medieval times are getting bullied on the internet right now.
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
I know.
Like,
Every
lady
time.
nights.
Yeah, they want women who are knights.
Yeah, and then but it's marketing genius.
Yeah.
P.T. Barnum would do it. You put lady knights on the horses, and you have ladies' night.
Yeah.
And then all the gals show up, and we get to watch the jousting with the lady knights.
Sapphic swords.
Bitch, that is so good.
I know.
And the people in the medieval times, people were like, no, we don't want to have women.
Yeah, but they're also anti-union, so fuck them. The medieval times have also been anti-union.
Their reasoning is bullshit because they're like, we're trying to be historically accurate. And I'm like, you serve Pepsi.
Yeah, they do. They don't give you a fork. You can't get a fork in medieval times. I think you have to fight really hard to get a fork.
I'll bring my own fork.
I know,
anyway.
because they're like, they didn't have forks back then. So you have to eat the drumstick
They
with your
didn't have
hands.
electric lighting and bath and toilets that flushed.
Yeah.
Give us lady nights.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And Pepsi.
Okay, so
In a goblet.
Barnum
With a paper crown.
also began investing in, he had this big idea to develop a part of Connecticut called East Bridgeport.
Can I tell you real fast? I'm just going to tell you right now. It's going to be very interesting when we find out in the comment sections of this video if we have any medieval times performers that watch this show. And when they comment on it a month or so from now, we will then read that comment on the after party, which you can only hear at pearlmania500.net, our Patreon, because it's one of our paywall podcasts where we react to your comments from YouTube, Patreon, and from our secret YouTube.
Yeah, and if you are one of the knights, let us know because we're trying to get lady knights. Okay, so he is trying to build up this part of Connecticut, and he's basically just like wants to revitalize the area, and he builds out like an industrial area and all this stuff, and he extends substantial loans to this company called the Jerome Clock Company. But that company went bankrupt. And when they went bankrupt, they took a huge chunk of his wealth. He invested way too much and way too dangerously.
So he went real hard in with a real estate developer.
Yes.
And then that real estate developer destroyed the good thing he had going.
Yes.
Never heard of that happening.
Yeah.
Never heard about a real estate developer dragging everybody into bankruptcy slowly over time.
Yeah.
Next thing you're going to tell me is somehow Iran's involved.
This began 4 years of litigation and public humiliation.
For P.T. Barnum?
For P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
Because he was humiliated in the press because he lost all this money.
Yeah, because they're like, dude, you trusted a real estate developer? Read a book.
P.T. also decides he's going to go on a lecture tour. So basically, he becomes a temperance speaker. And I believe that he did this literally to raise funds to handle the lawsuits with this like clock company.
Yeah.
By 1860, he emerged from debt and built a mansion that he called Lindencroft.
Okay.
Now, he had 2 other mansions, but he's building this 3rd mansion. But Lindencroft was actually built on the same spot of one of his other mansions, which was called Iranistan.
Okay, I was joking about the Iran thing earlier, and you just said Iranistan?
Yeah, let me show you a picture of it.
What are we doing here?
Iranistan was his previous mansion, and it had big Turkish-style domes. He even had an Indian elephant on premises that would plow the fields. Like it would look like it was plowing the fields, but it would just be like walking through all decorated. And hundreds of people would flock to this mansion to witness the spectacle of this house, Iranistan.
Wait, okay, hold on. In the movie, in this stupid movie you made me watch,
Yes.
which I'm still mad about.
Yes.
In that movie, he and his wife, Charity, he and Charity as children used to play in this dilapidated mansion.
Yeah.
And then later he buys it because it's down the road from her parents' mansion.
Yeah, he wanted to stunt on the parents.
Yeah, he wants to stunt on the parents. And then he fixed it up. At no point in time did it look like that.
No.
At no point in time did it look like it was supposed to be something that is owned by the Shah of Iran.
Yeah.
Like, also, it wasn't called Iran back then. It was called Persia. That name was changed later because Iranian, just so you guys, Iran has to do with followers of Zoroastrianism. And you know what Zoroastrian people, they worship in fire temples.
Oh.
So maybe this fire curses is because he fucked with Zoroaster too hard.
Okay, so Iranistan was, he called it his showman's palace.
Okay.
So he commissioned it to be a spectacular mix of Byzantine, Turkish, and Moorish influences, featuring domed, arched galleries, ornate detailing, and it made it one of the most distinctive homes in America, let alone the fact that it's in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Now that house,
hold on, and the picture of it looks like it should be someplace super warm.
Yeah.
But it's in fucking Connecticut.
It's in Connecticut.
It's around the corner from Hartford.
This is a cold, chilly elephant.
This is a fucking okay. All right, and also just to go back real fast over the things, the influences.
Yeah.
Go read them again for me real fast. You had in there.
Byzantine.
Yep.
Turkish.
Uh-huh.
Moorish.
Okay, so those are the corners of where the Islamic empires and influences are meeting Europe. Moorish influences are really coming in Spain. All right, that is where when Muslims came in and like they got all the way to France in the early times of the early expansion of the caliphate. And so that is like an area where that was really well known in Europe. And then Byzantine and Turkish, that is Constantinople and today Istanbul.
Yeah.
But basically that corner of that. But somehow he ended up making something that looks like it should be India.
Yeah.
Like somehow he fucked up in this really weird way.
Yeah.
But then people back then didn't fucking know.
They didn't know.
Because it's not like they had TV and they didn't have travel content.
No.
So they were just like, yeah, that's fucking crazy. And then on top of that, they're seeing an elephant.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to build a house that nice. You have an elephant, Michael Jackson. Like, this is Neverland Ranch shit.
Iranistan burned down.
Yes, because he fucked with Zoroaster. I already said that. You told me that it burned down.
No, it burned down because a workman there accidentally lit it on fire. There was like a repair guy who accidentally burned the whole place down.
Well, this is back when things just burned down all the time.
He described Lindencroft, that's the one he built afterwards in the same spot, as a refined gentleman's retreat. Okay? This was a stately Italian-style mansion.
Okay.
Classy.
Okay.
Then he also had Waldemir, which was his grand seaside escape.
The only time we see him seaside in the movie is at the end when he walks up to his wife and he's like, sorry, I've been a narcissistic, abusive psychopath. And she's like, I just want you to listen to me. And I started screaming at the screen, yeah, Perlman.
Also, there was the marina, which he called the final show place, which was like a nice modern brick mansion. Pretty classic for the times, like not like super crazy.
And that was a stripped down one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that all of them have names. I will give them that. I do like that.
You gotta name your mansion.
Gotta name your mansion.
Because when you inevitably pass away and it becomes haunted, we need something to call it.
Yes, we have to be able to call it something.
So, okay, it's 1870.
Okay.
He's 60. He's 60.
60.
He's 60. It's 1870, okay? This is when he establishes the traveling circus.
This is when he does it. At 60 years old.
At 60. Okay?
I want to point something out.
Yeah.
In the movie, when he establishes the traveling circus,
yeah.
He's not 60.
No.
He's like maybe late 40s. Because he's Hugh Jackman. He's not an old man in that.
No.
He just is just some fucking guy.
He named it P.T. Barnum's Grand Traveling Museum, Menagerie, Caravan, and Hippodrome.
That's a little long.
It's a bit much.
That's a little, but also though, back in those days, in like the 1870s, 1880s, everything had too long of a name. It was always way too precise.
Yeah.
Yeah, too precise of a name.
He changed the name eventually to something a little smaller. P.T. Barnum's Traveling World Fair, Great Roman Hippodrome, and the Greatest Show on Earth.
The Greatest Show on Earth is one I remember.
That's going to stick.
The Greatest Show on Earth is going to stick.
This was the first circus to display 3 rings. Okay?
Okay.
The show's primary attraction was Jumbo, an African elephant that Barnum had bought from the London Zoo.
I don't like that. I don't like that he bought an elephant from the London Zoo.
No.
I feel like they wouldn't do that today.
No.
And actually, because...
because the British just don't give shit back anyway.
Well, they don't do that. But also, Barnum and Bailey's, which eventually this becomes...
Yeah.
That is... they famously lost their elephants at the end.
Yeah.
Now they don't have... Now they're back, but they don't have elephants.
The circus still contained acts similar to the museum, including acrobats, in quotations, freak shows, and General Tom Thumb, a person with dwarfism that he dressed up like a war general.
Okay, yeah, and he's in the movie.
Yes.
He's like a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
General Tom Thumb is throughout the movie. They take him to go see Queen Victoria, and he's like, "What's up, Toots? You're not so tall either."
Yeah.
He says that to her. There's like a few times where he has like lines
Yeah.
that are really good. But that wasn't his name. They never even call him Tom Thumb.
Let me tell you something about Tom Thumb. Okay.
General Tom Thumb
was a star.
Oh, really?
Okay. He was a big time star. And the fact that they portrayed him so poorly in the movie is one of, out of all the terrible things in this movie and the rewrites to history, not giving Tom Thumb his flowers is crazy, because his name was Charles Stratton, and PT adopted him when he was 4 years old from his parents.
In the movie, he was 22.
He taught the boy how to sing and dance and mime and impersonate famous peoples for all of his childhood.
He bought a child?
He bought a 4-year-old with dwarfism. Stratton made his...
Wait, hold on. This is who Hugh Jackman wanted to be.
Yeah.
They made this movie, just so you know, I looked it up.
Okay.
They made this movie for Hugh Jackman. When Hugh Jackman hosted the Oscars.
Okay.
Back in 2009.
All right.
He wanted to show everybody that he's more than Wolverine. He's a song and dance man. And he ran around with a cane and a big coat with tails on him and everything else. And some people quoted, hey, he looks kind of like P.T. Barnum. And someone's like, oh, we could do a musical about P.T. Barnum with him. And he said, I love it. And then they spent years creating this movie for him. And then slowly changing shit
That's
like
why
this.
It's so bad.
Yes.
Because it wasn't just written about him. It was just written for the other guy.
Yeah, it was written for, it was a Hugh Jackman. This is a Hugh Jackman movie.
Yeah.
This is Hugh Jackman the entire time living P.T. Barnum's life. Not Hugh Jackman it being P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, just to bring it real home, they started writing this in 2009, and then it came out in 2017. So it's at the height. It's the entirety of the Obama administration.
Yeah.
Which is why every song is so fucking dated. When you're watching it, if you watch this movie now, I know so many of you probably been mad at me this whole fucking this whole podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. It was so great. Well, we never watched it until then. As I was watching, I was like, oh wait, that song's from fucking TikTok. And then she started saying, oh, I heard that song on TikTok.
Yeah.
No. The whole thing is like, the reason why so many people went back to that movie is in 2020 during lockdowns, so many people were trying to remember things that brought them joy, so they watched The Greatest Showman because The Greatest Showman has music that reminds them of Obama's America.
Yeah, or just watch Moulin Rouge.
Or just watch Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge would have been a better choice.
But also on top of that, with all of this, it's part of that Obama's America. It's part of that idea of like post-racial.
Yeah.
And also that we put all this stuff behind us. Mm-hmm. And so now, living in a world where we're being run by a fucking freak show of corrupt psychopaths who are trying to kill us all the time, it doesn't feel right.
Jeffersonians.
Yeah, Jacksonians.
Jacksonians.
These Jacksonian psychos that are running everything into the ground. When you watch a movie where everyone's like, we're going to overcome this because we're going to come together. Oh. I was like, fuck you and your $35 hamburger, man. All right, back to Tom Thumb. I'm sorry. I just had to blurt that out.
Stratton. His name's Stratton.
Stratton. So, Charles Stratton?
Charles Stratton. Charles Stratton made his first tour of America at the age of 5, with routines that included impersonating characters such as Cupid and Napoleon Bonaparte. The tour was a huge success.
I like that you said it the Italian way. I like that you didn't.
Mozzarella.
Yeah, you said Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah.
That was he would shoot you for that.
There's a lot of people that would.
I know.
Now,
okay.
A year later, Barnum took young Stratton on tour of Europe, making him an international celebrity. Along with PT, Stratton appeared before Queen Victoria. He met the 3-year-old future King Edward VI. After his 3-year tour in Europe, Stratton began his rise to stardom in the United States. Stratton's fame grew at an astonishing rate, and his popularity and celebrity surpassed that of any actor of the time. I'm telling you that Tom Thumb was the biggest star. He was the Tom Cruise of the age.
They could have made the movie about him.
Yes.
And about how he got purchased by Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Because in the movie, again, there's that scene where they show him meeting Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's up, toots? But he's like, he feels very much.
5.
Yeah, he's supposed to be 5 years old.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be 5 years old and very small. But that's like, I completely understand why they couldn't get somebody to do that.
Yeah.
But in the movie, they make it the entire joke over and over again, or like they do this implication that everyone thinks that he is a little child when he is an older man.
And I feel like it's a voiceover, right? Like it
felt
the
weird.
voice doesn't make sense.
The voice, there's something, I think it was it's like ADR or something like that, where they come back in to like go match it.
And they like deepened it or something.
It's something
it was very
odd there.
strange.
There was something odd with that side of it. But like this whole time, it's just driving me insane. Again, you're taking a much more interesting story and a much more like just real one, and you're sanitizing it to the point where they shouldn't even have called him P.T. Barnum. They just could have called him the Circus Man.
Yeah.
He could have just been Circus Man.
On his return home from his second tour in 1847, he was aboard the SS Cambria, and he became friends with the Irish explorer John Palliser, who told him of the famine in Ireland and how he was raising money for the victims. General Tom Thumb contributed at 9 years old $50 to the collection for the relief of the famine victims in Ireland. His huge donation made front page news and brought more eyes to the suffering of the Irish people. $50 would be $1,983.24 today.
Okay. All right. So legit, he's a good person. Okay. And this is the guy who they literally just every now and then pepper throughout the movie to make Hugh Jackman's character feel better.
Yes.
Because the whole movie, Hugh Jackman's like, oh, it's not going well, guys. And then a bearded lady, Tom Thumb, a guy covered in tattoos, come in and like, oh, sir, you're the first person to ever treat us like a person.
Yeah, you've been advocating for us the whole time.
Yeah,
Nobody ever was nice to us before.
Meanwhile, he purchased you at 4 and took you from home.
Yeah.
And made you do 2 European tours before you're 9.
Stratton's first performances in New York City marked a turning point in the history of the freak show entertainment. Before Stratton's debut, the presentation of, quote, human curiosities for entertainment was deemed dishonorable and seen as a carnival attraction. However, after viewers were introduced to Stratton and his performances, they changed their perception. He changed the perception that people held towards freak shows. Stratton's performances made the carnival shows one of the most favored forms of theatrical entertainment in the U.S. at the time. At the age of 7, Stratton performed a grand full-length fairy tale melodrama while Barnum sought to capitalize on Stratton's small stature. He also aimed to highlight and showcase his many true gifts as a performer. He was a talented actor, incredible singer, dancer, and comedian.
So he's a triple threat.
Yeah.
He's just a triple threat that happens to be small.
Yes.
And okay, yeah.
He was so popular that after Stratton got married, he was invited to the White House personally by Abraham Lincoln.
Again, why would you leave that out of the movie?
Yeah.
You could have put Lincoln in the movie.
Lincoln should have been in the movie.
Lincoln should have put the Lincoln back into The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Barnum was also one of the first circus owners to buy his own train. So that's important, I guess, right?
Yeah, that is. Well, I know that.
Yeah.
I knew that because of our kid.
Yeah, because we be watching a lot of trains.
Our kid's super into trains. Big shout out.
Shout out Mike Armstrong.
Yeah, Mike Armstrong.
Trains
the train
galore.
guy.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Trains galore 4 goes hard.
Yeah,
He coming.
He coming.
But one of the ones that we were watching of all these model trains, there was one where somebody bought, there was like a Barnum and Bailey, Ringling Brothers train set that has all the different things on it and like a giraffe's head sticking out of it, all those different things. So you can go put it around your train thing. Yeah. And then also even things like the little train that could.
Yeah.
In that book, it is pulling circus animals and stuff like that. The idea
There's giraffes and elephants and the clowns.
Yeah. The idea of a circus being on a train.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't make sense. Actually, really, it doesn't make sense.
No.
But it's because of P.T. Barnum. That's something that's left in our brain.
Something else that happened, he was appointed as one of the founding trustees of Tufts University.
In Massachusetts?
Yes. He funded the Barnum Museum of National History within the university. Mm-hmm. And because of this, the elephant, Jumbo, is still the school's mascot to this day.
Huh. It feels like we're getting near the end.
Oh, no, because now he has to get into politics.
Oh, he's getting into politics?
That's what you do. You get into politics.
Well, he was a newspaper man,
He was a newspaper man.
And he's a big showman. He's the greatest showman, just like Hugh Jackman in the movie. So he gets into politics.
I can't think of any celebrity that would have a TV show that could then become really political.
Yeah,
you know? That doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen in America anymore.
Happen.
Yeah, okay.
So he's significantly involved in politics. He focuses on race and slavery, and sectionalism in the period preceding the American Civil War.
So P.T. Barnum is really into race, and is he anti or pro-slavery?
He's anti-slavery.
Okay, got it.
Very much so.
Okay.
He's opposed to the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which supported slavery, and he left the Democratic Party because it had endorsed slavery. So he's becoming a Republican because they're anti-slavery Republicans.
Got it. And he's part of the North, and the North is very anti-slavery for many different reasons.
Yeah.
And it's more prevalent in that area versus the South. And that's kind of where the split goes during that time. And it's really Republicans are considered the radicals. The radical abolitionists are all Republicans for the most part. Any members of the Democrats that are abolitionists eventually either leave the Democratic Party or go over, and then they have their own schism. And then it stays that way basically until 1964.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barnum was elected to the Connecticut General Assembly in 1865 as an anti-slavery Republican.
Okay.
He said during the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, where he acknowledged that he had owned slaves when he lived in the South, he said, quote, "I whipped my slaves. I ought to have been whipped 1,000 times for this myself. But then I was a Democrat, one of those nondescript Democrats who are Northern men with Southern principles."
Wait, hold on a second for me real fast. So they left out the whole him being a Southern slave owner out of the movie?
Let me tell you something even fucking crazier they left out.
Yeah.
Because him saying that is infuriating because of something else I found out.
Yeah.
In 1835, so this is like just when he moves to New York with his wife.
Yeah.
1835 is early in the move to New York.
Yeah, which just so you know, in the movie, when they show him during this period of time, they're like dancing in laundry on a rooftop.
Yeah, in tenement
That's their whole
housing.
thing. Yeah, they're dancing on the rooftop.
Yeah.
That's what they showed us about 1835.
His first investment into this business that he's going to become like a showman was he purchased a blind and almost completely paralyzed slave named Joyce Heth.
Wait, hold on. P.T. Barnum bought a woman?
Yes.
He bought an old woman.
An old, blind, paralyzed woman. He billed her as George Washington's 161-year-old former nurse.
What the fuck?
Slavery was already outlawed in New York, but Barnum exploited a loophole that allowed him to lease her for $1,000. He had borrowed $500 of that to complete this lease sale.
So he leased a slave woman.
Yes.
He leased an enslaved woman.
Mm-hmm.
And then he proceeded to lie and say that she was the nursemaid of George Washington?
Yes. That was his selling point, for you to pay a nickel to come view her.
To just look at an old blind woman.
Yes.
Who was just barely alive.
Mm-hmm.
This is how he got his start.
Yes.
This is the first step on becoming the greatest showman. It wasn't taking his dad's hat off of a fucking coffin. It wasn't selling newspapers. It wasn't doing a tap dance. It wasn't lying about a fucking loan. It was buying a fucking old woman.
Yes. He forced her to work 10 to 12 hours per day.
She was 79.
Yeah. She died in February of 1836. So 1 year. She died a year into
his lease. His lease. He leased a human being.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barnum hosted a live autopsy of her body.
Shut the fuck up.
In a New York saloon to prove she was actually 160 years old and charged 50 cents at the door.
He had her chopped up in a fucking bar to count her bones like they were tree rings?
Yes. Yep. After her death, the story was exposed as a hoax.
what the fuck are we doing here? What the fuck? Why would you make him? What the fuck? The goddamn. I am apoplectic. This is fucking insane. Like, I understand that later he becomes anti-slavery, whatever, great. People need to go on change, all this other different shit. But the fact, no, it makes sense. It makes sense that Hugh Jackman would want to make this movie. You want to know why?
Why?
Because, there's some things we left out about Hugh Jackman in this movie.
This is not an episode about Hugh Jackman.
No, it should be. It should be about him and his deep, close-knit friendship with Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox News.
Wait, what?
Because this year, Hugh Jackman this year did his little song and dance tap dance for fucking Rupert Murdoch's 95th birthday.
What?
Yeah, this year, 2026, Hugh Jackman hopped on a stage, did a little dance for Rupert Murdoch. And Rupert Murdoch at the time owned 20th Century Fox, which is the production company that produced this fucking garbage movie. And the reason why it was greenlit and the reason why it was created is because he's such close personal friends with Rupert Murdoch. Guess what? Remember earlier I said he was a godparent?
Yeah.
Guess who he's a godparent to?
No.
Rupert Murdoch's kids that he had with Wendy Deng in 2003.
Oh, no. Wolverine, why?
Exactly. Wolverine from the Fox movies of the X-Men before 20th Century Fox was sold to fucking Disney. He's been close personal friends his entire adult life with Rupert fucking Murdoch. And so, of course, the owner of Fox News went and glossed over the fact that they're making a movie and a song and dance movie, a stomp, whoop, clap, let's do it, snap our fucking suspenders movie about a man who chopped up an old lady and claimed that he was one of Washington's slaves. Rupert Murdoch, a man who supported Donald Trump, who came to, not to break it about Philadelphia, but Donald Trump sent his goons into Philadelphia to remove evidence and plaques about the fact that George Washington kept slaves in the first presidential manor here in Philadelphia. We had a court case about it because they went and they literally ripped everything off the walls. They figured out where George Washington's house was right by Independence Mall. They built a little thing for it, and they put up plaques about the enslaved people that lived there, and that George Washington was so into fucking slavery that they had to make sure these slaves were forced to go back to Virginia after a certain amount of months, because there was a law in Pennsylvania at the time that if an enslaved person came across the Mason-Dixon line and was here for a certain period of time, they were automatically granted their freedom. Automatically, immediately. And George fucking Washington sent his people back because he didn't want to make sure that they knew of this loophole where they hung out here too long. And a few of them escaped. And George Washington spent the rest of his life and their lives writing to them, saying, don't you want to come back? Don't you want to come back? And so instead, they suppressed all that fucking history. They created the fucking cherry tree. They created the fucking wooden teeth and all that other bullshit. And then we have hucksters like this piece of shit come out there, buy a lady who has nothing to do with any of this shit, and chop her fucking up. He wouldn't even let her be free in death. And this is the guy that Hugh Jackman wanted to do. Oh, fuck you, Hugh Jackman. Fuck you, Wolverine. You fucking bag of shit.
Yep.
I'm sorry. That's just it's so fucking insane.
No,
I understand later in his life, you were saying the 13th Amendment, which is what banned slavery. I understand that, yeah, he made changes and all those things.
It didn't ban slavery. It just made it so that if you are imprisoned for breaking a law and then implied criminality, then you could be a slave of the state.
It moved it from owning people to leasing them for a specific period of time once they have a judicial order against them.
Yeah,
that's what the 13th Amendment truly did at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It was written that way on purpose. So
listen, Charity died.
Charity? Okay, what are you talking about? Charity died.
The wife.
P.T. Barnum's wife. I forgot. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got so mad at fucking Hugh Jackman for what P.T. Barnum doing that. I forgot about Charity, who was played by Michelle Williams.
Charity dies in 1873. Okay. He's 63. P.T. Barnum's 63.
Because he was born in 1810. I can do math.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm hot now. I'm literally hot. I'm like that yelling and then these lights. And then you made me watch this fucking movie. Here's the thing. I don't hate all musicals. Can I just say this real fast?
Yeah.
I don't hate all musicals.
Name one you like.
I really like Cabaret.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I really like The Music Man growing up. I really like Fiddler on the Roof.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably just because it does something to me.
Yeah.
What are some other ones? I liked, what was the rock and roll musical we went to?
I know what you're talking about.
The one that's all rock and roll stuff.
Yeah.
Where it was rock and roll songs. I like that one.
That was cool.
I like the Buddy Holly story. I saw that one.
Nice.
I saw The Lion King. I like The Lion King.
No.
I liked, there's musicals that I like.
Yeah.
And I was
Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
I remember that one.
I enjoyed Rock of Ages.
Okay,
we
so
went to
listen,
a matinee show.
We sure did.
Yeah,
Love
we did.
a matinee.
Which apparently was invented by P.T. Barnum after he cut up a lady in a bar.
Charity dies.
I'm glad you put that at the end. Just so you know. I'm glad that this is because if you had told me this early, I would just be
I couldn't open with it.
No.
It's too much.
Well, you know what? They knew that I even put it in the fucking movie. They had to put in a fucking song about, we're going to overcome this bullshit.
She dies 1873.
Who?
Charity,
the wife. Okay, got it.
In 1874, a few months after his wife's death, he marries Nancy Fish, his friend's daughter, who is 40 years his junior.
Wait, so he at 63, he marries a 23-year-old.
Yes.
So they cut out that.
Yeah.
They never even got to that. The movie ends with him basically watching his kids do ballet while sitting next to his wife, implying that it's the greatest love story ever told, and that they're close friends who actually are partners even all the way back then.
Yeah.
Kind of like implies like some equalness there.
Mutual respect and love.
And instead, because the only age difference in the movie is supposed to be Zac Efron and Zendaya.
Yeah.
Because he was nearly 30 and she was like 18.
Yeah.
That is the weird, creepy age difference in that movie. What you're saying is they cut out the fact that his wife died and then he married a lady named Fish.
Upon hearing of Charity's death, Barnum traveled to Southport to be with Fish and her father, John. He did not attend his wife's funeral.
Okay, I can see why they cut that out of the movie. I can see that they had to make sure they needed to pretend that he cared about his daughter doing ballet while the other one pretended to be a tree in the background.
In 1875, a year later, he served as mayor of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he worked to improve the water supply. He brought gas lighting to the streets. And
Oh, yeah. No, this movie brought gaslighting to our fucking living room. All right? That's what it fucking did. That's what he did. When did he die? Did he die? Is he going to die soon? Does he die soon?
He was big into enforcing liquor and prostitution laws.
Oh, okay, Mr. Moral. Go count some more bone rings.
He was instrumental in the inception of the Bridgeport Hospital.
Okay.
And he was the first president of that hospital.
Uh-huh.
He did die of a stroke in 1891.
Jesus Christ, he lived to be 81 years old. 60 years after he counted a lady's fucking rings.
His circus was sold to Ringling Brothers on July 8th of 1907 for $400,000, which is the equivalent to about $13 million.
Jesus. And that's it. And then he died.
Yeah.
So he died, and then his thing is sold. Fuck that guy. And fuck
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman. I don't care. Fuck that. That is so infuriating. I hated that movie. It's bad enough that it was historically inaccurate. The things that they purposely left out are so goddamn wrong.
Yeah.
It's so wrong, and it's worse. Not making this would have been better.
Yeah.
I just want to say, not making this would have been better. They're bullshit. It's saccharine. They pretend that he cares about these people when he's clearly using them the entire time.
Yeah.
The leaving out. Like, yeah, sure. By the end, he's a slightly better person. He probably wanted to get into heaven by that point.
Yeah.
But like all this other shit, fuck him.
Also, they left out General Tom Thumb.
Yeah, well, they had him there. They had him there.
No, but they left him out.
No, but they never even call him General Tom Thumb.
Yeah.
He literally is sitting there at the one point. He sees the whole reason he ends up in the movie. The reason why he wants to start getting freaks after his kids say you need to have something alive.
Yeah.
Is he sees the apple.
Yeah.
And he sees a book about Tom Thumb, like one of his kids' nursery rhyme books. And he sees the Tom Thumb. He's holding the Tom Thumb book and an apple. And he's like, oh, that freak gave me an apple.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a dwarf.
Yeah.
And then bing, bang, boom, before you know it, we're stomp, whoop, and a
Exploiting
clap.
people.
Yes.
We're exploiting
100%.
people.
He does a whole, like the X-Men. We got to go collect our X-Men.
Yeah.
It literally is almost shot for shot like X-Men First Class where they're traveling around.
Well, he only knows X-Men, okay? Anyway, that's
No, he doesn't.
the
He
episode.
knows Rupert Murdoch and Nicole Kidman.
Give me your hand.
I don't want to give you my
Give me
hand.
your hand. And
Yeah,
we did it.
we did it.
We had a comedy history podcast.
Yeah, and we're going to do it again next week, every Sunday at noon.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Like and subscribe.
Ad-free on the Patreon.
Say it all.